हेलो बच्चों, हाउ आर यू ऑल। क्या आप लोगों ने पिछली वाली सारी स्टोरीज और पोएम सुन ली है? वेरी गुड। आई न्यू आप लोग बहुत रिलीजियसली सारी स्टोरीज पढ़ रहे हैं और सारी की सारी पोएम सुन रहे हैं। और इसलिए मुझे रोज़ रोज़ एक नई स्टोरी ढूंढनी पड़ती है, जो कि मेरे लिए बहुत मज़ेदार काम है, क्योंकि मुझे स्टोरीज पढ़ना खुद भी बहुत अच्छा लगता है और फिर आपके लिए पढ़ना तो और भी ज़्यादा मज़ेदार लगता है। तो आज जो मैं स्टोरी आपके लिए लेके आई हूँ, इस बुक से मैं एक स्टोरी पहले भी पढ़ चुकी हूँ। और ये बुक है अंडर द banyan ट्री एंड अदर स्टोरीज बाय आर के नारायण. And as I have told you earlier also, this book is published by Indian Thought Publications, and R K Narayan is a celebrated Indian author who particularly writes in English. So, the story that I'm going to read out of this book today is called A Snake in the Grass. It's a short story, and here it goes. So, it's a snake in the grass. On a sunny afternoon, when the inmates of the bungalow were at their siesta, a cyclist rang his bell at the gate frantically and announced, "A big cobra has got into your compound. It crossed my wheel." He pointed to its track under the gate and resumed his journey. The family, consisting of the mother and her four sons, assembled at the great gate in great agitation. The old servant, Dasa, was sleeping in the shed. They shook him out of his sleep and announced to him the arrival of the cobra. "There is no cobra," he replied, and tried to dismiss the matter. They swore at him and forced him to take an interest in the cobra. "The thing is somewhere here. If it is not found before the evening, we will dismiss you. Your neglect of the garden and the lawns is responsible for all these dreadful things coming in," said the mother. Some neighbors dropped in. They looked accusingly at Dasa. "You have the laziest servant on earth," they said. "He ought to keep the surroundings tidy." "I have been asking for a grass cutter for months," Dasa said. In one voice, they ordered him to manage with the available things and learn not to make demands. He persisted. They began to speculate how much it would cost to buy a grass cutter. A neighbor declared that you could not think of buying any article made of iron till after the war. He chanted banalities of wartime prices. The second son of the house asserted that he could get anything he wanted at controlled prices. The neighbor became eloquent about the black market. A heated debate followed. The rest washed in apathy. At this point, the college boy of the house butted in with, "I read in an American paper that 30,000 people die of snake bite every year." Mother threw up her arms in horror and arraigned Dasa. The boy elaborated the statistics. "I have worked it out, 83 a day. That means every 20 minutes someone is dying of cobra bite. As we have been talking here, one person has lost his life somewhere." Mother nearly screamed on hearing it. The compound looked sinister. The boys brought in bamboo sticks and pressed one into the hands of the servant too. He kept desultorily poking it into the foliage with a cynical air. "The fellow is beating about the bush," someone cried aptly. They tucked up their dhotis, seized every available knife and crowbar, and began to hack the garden. Creepers, bushes, and lawns were laid low. What could not be trimmed was cut to the root. The inner walls of the house brightened with the unobstructed glare streaming in. When there was nothing more to be done, Dasa asked triumphantly, "Where is the snake?" An old beggar cried for alms at the gate. They told her not to pester when they were engaged in a snake hunt. On hearing it, the old woman became happy. You are fortunate. It is God, Subramanya, who has come to visit you. Don't kill the snake. Mother was in hearty agreement. You are right. I forgot all about the promised Abhishekam. This is a reminder. She gave a coin to the beggar, who promised to send down a snake charmer as she went. Presently, an old man appeared at the gate and announced himself as a snake charmer. They gathered around him. He spoke to them of his life and activities and his power over snakes. They asked admiringly, "How do you catch them?" "Thus," he said, pouncing upon a hypothetical snake on the ground. They pointed the direction in which the cobra had gone and asked him to go ahead. He looked helplessly about and said, "If you show me the snake, I'll at once catch it. Otherwise, what can I do? The moment you see it again, send for me. I live nearby." He gave his name and address and departed. At 5 in the afternoon, they threw away their sticks and implements and repaired to the veranda to rest. They had turned up every stone in the garden and cut down every grass blade and shrub, so that the tiniest insect coming into the garden should have no cover. They were loudly discussing the various measures they would take to protect themselves against reptiles in the future, when Dasa appeared before them carrying a water pot whose mouth was sealed with a slab of stone. He put the pot down and said, "I have caught him in this. I saw him peeping out of it. I saw him before he could see me." He explained at length the strategy he employed to catch and seal up the snake in the pot. They stood at a safe distance and gazed on the pot. Dasa had the glow of a champion on his face. "Don't call me an idler hereafter," he said. Mother complimented him on his sharpness and wished she had placed some milk in the pot as a sort of religious duty. Dasa picked up the pot cautiously and walked off, saying that he would leave the pot with its contents with the snake charmer living nearby. He became the hero of the day. They watched him in great admiration and decided to reward him adequately. It was 5 minutes since Dasa was gone when the youngest son cried, "See there!" Out of a hole in the compound wall, a cobra emerged. It glided along towards the gate, paused for a moment to look at the gathering in the veranda with its hood half open. It crawled under the gate and disappeared along a drain. When they recovered from the shock, they asked, "Does it mean that there are two snakes here?" The college boy murmured, "I wish I had taken the risk and knocked the water pot from Dasa's hand. We might have known what it contained." So, this was the story A Snake in the Grass. So, what do you think? Did Dasa actually catch a snake? And was there a snake in the pot? Or was Dasa lying? Or were there two snakes? Well, any of it could be a possibility. What do you think? Which one is the best possibility? The most probable one? Let me know in your comments. So, that's all for today. I'll be back with another story, another interesting story tomorrow. Till then, bye bye and enjoy.